Hi, everyone. Good evening. Today is a very special day for me because this is something that we've been working on for quite a while now, and it's been a series of events. And today, I have a very interesting one of us. His name is Promise Uchechukwu. Promise Uche Uwanchukwu, you know him already. He's a Microsoft MVP for AI and security. He's a consultant and he has over 10 years of experience doing all these things. So he has paid his dues. You know what? He knows his T's and he knows what he's doing. Okay. So he's gonna be taking us through mastering model context protocol for AI integration. Okay. We're doing this as part of empowering our community to be AI aware and AI conscious because of the fact that when we have AI, we need the protocols um, to to make everything okay. So I'll be letting Promise take the center stage, and he'll talk more about this. And I'm very excited. I have my note and my pen here, eager to listen to what he has to say, and I'm sure that you are excited to hear from him as well. Promise, over to you.
Thank you very much, Raphael. How are you doing today? Raphael, can you hear me? Hello, Raphael, can you hear me?
Oh yes, Promise, I'm with you. Thank you very much. I'm fine. I'm fine.
All right, okay, awesome, awesome. All right. I would proceed from here then.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, like my colleague said, my name is Promise Uche Umachko, and today we are talking about an interesting concept, something that has been on the minds of everyone recently. I mean, if you are tuned into anything related to Microsoft, I'm sure you must have been hearing the word MCP recently. I guess this is something that is reigning, is the recent trend, the latest kid in the block. So we are going to be talking about this, and it is with pleasure that I would explain some of these concepts so that we can all understand it and also know how to use it. So it's my intention to explain to you how you can master the model context protocol and also with your for AI integration. Um, we will be taking some examples as well and look at some of the I would say recent tools that have been incorporated by Microsoft for in VS Code and how we can actually explore these tools, right? So stay tuned and yeah, get your notes, your pen, paper, and jot as much as you can. And also, I mean, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. Yeah, feel free to ask. And I mean, that's why we are all here, right? That's the whole essence of why we are here. So I would proceed with the session. And then, like I said, we are talking generally on MC, MCP core concept, mastering the model context protocol for AI integration. All right, so what generally we I would be explaining would be the what really is the models context protocol. I know you must have been hearing it, like I said, here and there, but what really is it, right? And how do you understand how it works? I think for us to be able to get a better explanation on this, we have to get the basic understanding of what really it is. And truthfully, in a short form, I would say the model context protocol is an open source, standardized protocol that enables AI applications to connect seamlessly with external tools, data sources, and services. This is a brief definition that gives us a basic understanding of what the model's context protocol is all about. So it's an open source one, right? And another thing is that basically, as a function, it helps us to enable AI applications to connect to external tools. That's all. Those two things are what you should have at the back of your mind. Enable AI applications to connect seamlessly with external tools. That is the basic function of the model context protocol. Now, you can also think of it, right, as a USB-C port, right, for AI. So you can imagine how, if you want to um, plug something, or let's say you have a device, right? Look at the device as your AI application, right? And then you have um, a USB-C port connection, right? Now, you want to be able to get, like, say, extra data, more information. Because you have that USB-C port connection, you can decide to connect an external storage device that has, let's say, extra information, right? Now, remember we said the model context protocol is that port, because why? It enables you to be able to add the extra USB drive, or maybe some other data source location, or maybe some other tool which you might want to use for your application. So this definition just explains what the model context protocol is all about. Now, by establishing a common language between AI application and external resources, MCP, the model's control protocol, context protocol, transforms how we build intelligent systems, right? Making them more capable, extensible, and easier to maintain. So, with this in mind, imagine you're building a robot system that has several features. You don't now have to bother about, okay, how will I or update some of the extra features of this, because they are independent. Let's say these are tools or external sources that are being managed on their own, right? But because your application has the extra capability to tap into that other device or that other tool, it's like you're extending the functionalities of your AI application. And of course, the model context protocol helps us in doing that. Now, let's proceed. Um, Now, for us to understand the impact, right, of the model context protocol, I think we should look at what would applications be like without MCP, and what they would be like with MCP, right? So now imagine that a scenario where we don't have MCP. Now imagine a scenario that um, every AI model that requires a custom integration for every tool, right? Now, imagine for 5 models and 10 tools, that's 50 separate integrations to build and maintain, right? So imagine that you have 5 models and you want to incorporate 10 tools into each of these applications, right? Now, imagine all of the work you would have to do. Generally, this would lead to complex development, high maintenance costs, fragile connections, and what? Limited scalability. Because already the work to be done, it's a lot. The work to be done already, it's a lot, right? But when you have an MCP powered application, or yeah, an AI application that is has the ability to work with MCP servers, context protocol servers, you then see a scenario where rather than having to deal with 50 integrations, you are probably dealing with 15, right? So for the with an MCP server or with the model context protocol, the AI application, you are just adding. So you can see here each model connects to the MCP, and each tool connects once to the MCP. With 5 models and 10 tools, that's only what? 15 integrations. That's what? 15 integrations. So this generally gives you the ability then to see that now, since your application is being powered by MCP or has the extra capability to work with MCP servers, you then get scenarios where um, you have simplified architecture, reduced costs, robust connections, and easy scaling, right? So these are some of the benefits of having an AI application that is capable of integrating with MCP servers, right? So now, this dramatic reduction in the complexity means developers can then focus on building features rather than maintaining countless custom integrations. MCP transforms what was once an exponential problem into what? A linear one, making AI integration practical at scale. And like I said, we would see firsthand what it's like to work with um, a simple MCP server and how all of these integrations would look like, right? So these are some of the benefits, like I mentioned, of having an AI system or an AI application that is compatible with what? MCP server. All right, now let's look at the MCP architecture, which is generally the client and the server model, right? So there are 3 things you basically need to have at the back of your mind when we are talking about MCP. The whole the whole context around MCP, there are 3 things you need to have at the back of your mind. Now, one of such things you need to have at the back of your mind is that MCP is powered by this, I would say, will I call them background services, right? And such services, or will I say tools or resources, are what we call the host, the client, and the server. Now, you have to understand the function of each one of these resources, because these are the tools or the underground or underlying layer that enable the model context protocol. These are the basic things that helps this particular system work. Now, like I said, each one of them are performing different functions. The first thing you need to know is that for the host, the AI application that users interact with directly, such as, for instance, the cloud desktop, GitHub Copilot, or a custom AI assistant, right? The host provides the user interface and orchestrates the overall experience, right? So, although the user interacts with the cloud desktop, the GitHub Copilot, the host itself is what is providing that user interface that enables you interact. Now, in our demo session, we would actually take a look at what it's like to make use of a cloud desktop as a client, and also the GitHub Copilot itself. We would actually take a practical look on how these two will work together. Now, we've explained here that the host itself provides the user interface and orchestrates the overall experience when working with the when working with your MCP. Now, the client itself, right? The client basically a component embedded inside the host, right? That manages all communication with the what? MCP servers. It handles connection establishment, message routing, and protocol compliance, acting as the bridge between the what AI and the what external service, right? So you can, for instance, you can look at for if, for instance, I'm making use of a personal desktop, right? And I've installed my cloud desktop in my, let's say, my MacBook. My MacBook enables me to see my cloud desktop. So I would call that the host. It's hosting the cloud desktop, right? Now, the client, I would say that that is actually the cloud desktop itself that I'm actually interacting with. But then there's still one thing, one component, which is the server that the client speaks to. The server is generally an external service that exposes tools, data, or capabilities via MCP, right? Examples will include GitHub repositories, Google Drive storage, local file systems, or databases. Now, servers implement the MCP protocol to make their resources what? Available. So the servers itself, the servers are the ones that actually do the implementation of the MCP protocol, right? By making what the resources available. So I will paint you an instance. Remember, we said that the MCP, or the model context protocol, is like a USB-C port in of an AI application, right? It's just the port itself, but the tools that needs to be reached or exposed are being hosted in the server. The server itself has these tools. Now, the server is able to connect to the client, which is the cloud desktop or GitHub Copilot in this case, right? Through MCP. MCP powers this connection that happens between the server that has the extra tools and the client, right? The cloud desktop. That is what powers this functionality and makes it actually work. Now let's go on. How MCP works, right? How MCP works. Now, for you to understand how it works, right? One basic thing you need to have at the back of your mind is the connectivity I have just explained to you. Now, imagine your smartphone connecting to multiple USB-C devices, right? Say chargers, external drive, displays, and headphones, all without requiring special adapters or custom cables for each device. That's the power of what? Standardization. So MCP actually does help connections like that without, you don't have to require special interfaces for your AI applications to connect with these external tools, right? Because MCP provides that foundation. MCP provides that environment that will power the connection between the external tools and your AI application. Now, MCP brings this same elegance to what? AI integration. AI agents can then discover available tools dynamically, right? They can then also invoke them as needed and even chain multiple tools together to accomplish complex tasks, all without developers writing custom code for each integration. So you see how wonderful this is. It's like just building a sample application and then providing that application to be able to integrate with any system out there. That application is going to be like a powerhouse because it has the ability to integrate with wonderful systems that can give it all the necessary functions it needs to be able to perform. Now, just as USB-C eliminated the drawer full of, or I say the drawer full of incompatible cables, NCP also eliminates the repository, right, full of custom integration codes. So with MCP, you don't need to start writing all of those. You don't need to do all that. You can trash away that repo right now that has all of your custom integration code. Why? Because MCP is here and MCP is here to stay. Now, the protocol itself handles discovery, authentication, invocation, and data exchange automatically, allowing AI systems to adapt to new tools and services without code changes, right? Without code changes. And like I said, in the demo session that will be happening in a few minutes from now, we'll be able to see how this practically works, right? We will be able to see how this practically works. Now, let's go on to core MCP message types, right? For you to understand how this works, right, you need to understand what message types does the MCP process or makes use of, and what is the process that happens when between when the user is initiating a request to when the connection from the client goes to the MC through the MCP protocol to the server and back through the MCP protocol down to the client, which could be the cloud desktop or your GitHub repo. All of that process you need to understand. And what happens in there is what? The initializing request, listing of tools requests, call to requests, read resource requests, and what? Notification and errors, right? So these are the various messaging types. Now, in the practical session, like I said, you would actually see firsthand how the initialization request is going to happen, how you can list the tools, you can call your tools, and how you can request, you can read resource requests and also with the notifications and errors. Now, MCP in action, use cases. To actually see how the MCP server works, we will do a demo so that you can actually have a look and see how it works. And I would also, for instance, show you scenarios where you actually get to see what the code base is like and how all of those happen. Now, use cases we can actually discuss of in this scenario. One of the things we can talk of are personal AI assistants, right? AI agents access your Google Calendar, Notion workspace, and emails to act as intelligent personal assistants. They can schedule meetings, summarize notes, and manage your digital life contextually. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing to wake up every morning, and by the time you wake up in the morning, you get a report from your AI application that has summarized all the meals you have gotten over the night, and provided some action plan for what you need to do, created a to-do list for you. This is the power of actually integrating your AI applications through MCP with external tools. So you see this live in action happening through the personal AI assistant. Another thing you also want to look at for a use case is what the enterprise intelligence. Imagine enterprise chatbots query multiple databases, CRM systems, and analytics platforms simultaneously to provide what real-time business insights and answer complex operational questions, right? That is the power of what MCP. Another scenario you can look at is the creative automation. AI models generate code, create 3D designs, or control physical devices like 3D printers and IoT systems, bridging the gap between what digital intelligence and physical action. So these are some of the physical use cases of MCP, right? These use cases actually demonstrate how MCP enables AI to move beyond the simple text generation into what powerful context-aware applications that can perform real-world tasks across diverse domains. So with the integrating or enabling your AI application with MCP, you actually give it a a kind of powerful um, function that enables it to go beyond even the normal way it would operate. Now, let's look at this. What are the benefits of MCP for stakeholders, right? For developers, one of the benefits you can look at is faster time to market for new features, lower maintenance burden. For AI applications, you can look at connecting hundreds of tools instantly, discovering capabilities dynamically, and then for end users, you can look at what context aware integration, more powerful AI assistants, right? So these are some of the benefits of MCP for stakeholders. Now, um, in terms of development tools, what are the kind of development tools that are available for you to build your MCP servers or expose tools through your MCP servers, right? So one, the other some of the tools you have generally are the MCP C Sharp SDK, right? You can see here Microsoft has embraced MCP across its developer ecosystem, providing robust tools to accelerate what adoption. So you see, MCP C Sharp SDK enables rapid creation of both MCP clients and servers with comprehensive documentation and examples, right? Also, you have product integration, native support in GitHub Copilot, Visual Studio Code, and Semantic Kernel, right? And also pre-built servers, ready to use MCP servers for popular services like GitHub, Slack, and PostgreSQL, right? So you can see some of the developer tools that are available for you to make use of in developing your client as well as MCP servers. Now, what is the future of AI integration with MCP? The future that I see right now, right, for AI integration with MCP is wild. It's really, really wild. And the reason why this is so is because there are lots of possibilities that can happen if your AI application is able to successfully integrate with MCP. Now, to just take a look at some of the possibilities that can happen is scenarios where you build, you connect, and you scale, right? Now, building your AI application, MCP then helps you connect to various tools, and then you know what? You are then able to scale, right? So this is the future I see for AI integration with MCP. It's wild. It's really, really wild. And I know that there are lots of possibilities that could happen with this. Now, to actually show you a sample of all of these things I've been talking about, um, I would actually give a demonstration right now so that you can see, because actually I'm done with my slide. I really don't like, you know, I don't really like doing much of the talking, but I love to show you so that you can see and actually learn, or get a basic understanding of how this works. Now, um, I can tell you for sure that recently, um, Microsoft released an MCP server, right, that enables your MCP client to be able to call Microsoft Learn. And that is one thing I want us to test with today. Now, to be able to do this test, we will be dealing with two different systems or two different clients. We will see how to integrate um, the MCP server from Microsoft, the MCP server, right? We will see how to communicate with this server through using a client called Cloud Desktop, and also making use of um, the GitHub Copilot. Now, come with me and let's see how this actually works. I'll be sharing my screen so you can have a look. Okay, let's go. All right. As you can see now, right? Um, you can see, as you can see now, you would see that, for instance, this is a I would say, I think I saw the information this morning. No, it was yesterday or the day before. I saw that Microsoft had released this tool, and I was like so excited because I wanted to see how it would work. Now, for this to be able to work, one of the things you want to do is that you first of all can go through I would say the repository itself to see the basic function. And all of these things that I will be explaining are all in the repository itself, right? So you can see this is the repository, right? One of the things you want to do is you want to be able to install this on your GitHub Copilot, your VS Code, right? You want to install it on your VS Code, and all you need to do that is to click on this button. That's all you need to do. You click on this button, and when you click on this button, you would then be redirected to this. You'll be redirected to this. So we open this so you can see, you can have a feel of this, right? Now, we'll take a close look at how this works. So by default, if you click on the previous link, it should open your VS Code, and you should be able to see like a page. Now, if for instance you are like, okay, I want to see how this is actually integrated on my system, you can actually go through your extensions. But for you to go through your extensions, you need to enable your extensions to be able to search for MCP servers, right? And I'll just click on here, and I will just do something like say at and say MCP. I'll say learn. So you see, okay, I think, okay, I'll say at, yeah, MCP. Now you see with this, it's bringing out various MCP servers, right? But what I want to focus on is the learn, right? So you can see that I have already installed it. If not, you should see this button here, just like you see for Azure DevOps. Now, in case you're wondering how many MCP servers are there are a lot. They are really, really a lot. And you can actually have access to all of them just through your VS Code. You can see all the MCP servers here. All of these are various MCP servers you can connect with. You can see Azure DevOps, MongoDB, Elasticsearch. These are all MCP servers you can actually connect with. But let's focus on learn. Now, this is learn. Now you can see from here, you can see that um, learn is already installed on my system, because you can see it's telling me uninstall. And then all of the information which you saw on the website, you can actually see also on your VS Code. You can see also on your VS Code, right? So you can see all of this explains to you the various keywords you can use to enable Copilot, your GitHub Copilot, to know to communicate with what your with this MCP server. And for the Microsoft Learn MCP server, the keywords you to use are what? Search Microsoft Docs, deep dive, and fetch full doc. Now, these keywords actually came to be because of the tools exposed. So if we go back to the site I did open here, I think this is it, right? You would see this basically. So, okay, let me show you the let me show you the codes here. Uh, GitHub. Okay, I think this is the one I opened. Good. Now, you would see here the reason why those keywords were chosen are because of the tools that are exposed. That's why the keywords were chosen. I think my just a minute, let me share my screen again. Just a minute, sharing my screen again. Yes, takes a while. I'm just having a freeze of some system, so just hold for a bit. Hmm. Let me see if this works. Yes, just yeah, my system often gives this challenge. Yes, 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 yes. 1 minute. Okay, cool. And we do this again. Let's see that this comes up. Yeah, it just takes a bit of some time. Yeah, just trying to share this. Okay. Okay, so just as I was explaining to you, right? Um, I'm going to actually put this on now on my MS Code here, so you actually get to see it. Yes. Okay. Good. We open a new window here, so you can see. All right. So I will just share this, so you see. Good. I believe you should be able to see my screen now. Good. So, like we were saying, right? Um, all of the information here that you can see, all you just need to do is to come to the extensions, right? And type here at MCP, right? And you click on what learn. You search for the the learn MCP server, right? Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Microsoft learn. Okay, so looks like this is not up to date. I'm using the one from another system. Just a minute. Let's see if I'm able to get the second system to work. Okay. Okay. So I see, looks like this finally worked good. So now we can continue on this, That's good. Okay, now we can continue on this. I was able to get the system back up. So, like I explained to you, all of the things you can see here and the keywords you can actually make use of are all because of the tools that are exposed by Microsoft. So, for this to work, these are the three tools exposed by Microsoft, right? One of the tool is Microsoft Docs Search, Microsoft Docs Fetch, and what? Microsoft Code Sample Search. Like I explained, MCP is like the protocol or the ports in your AI applications that allow you to connect to MCP servers, just like this Microsoft Learn that has been provided. Now, we will connect this to a cloud desktop. And to connect this to a cloud desktop is really easy. All of the integrations are already provided in your VS Code. So all you need to do is click on your VS Code, right? And then you scroll down here. You scroll down to the information provided for cloud desktop legacy config, right? So all you need to do is to add this configuration to your cloud desktop. And I'll show you how mine works. Now, this is my cloud desktop, right? Let me open a new chat for you. Um, and of course, I'm using a free plan. So I want to show you how I was able to connect the cloud desktop to the MCP server. Now, basically, all I needed to do was to copy the code I showed you here, this code. I copied it to the config file of my cloud desktop. And how do I get the config file? I come to here, I click on settings, right? It should open a tab for me. I go to developer, and here's the config. Once I click on edit config, it should open a terminal for me. Like it should, in fact, go to my, yeah, you can see this is my config. And then I can decide to open this up in my in my VS Code, right? And as you can see, I have various um, I have various MCP servers configured on this system. But the one for Microsoft is just this. This alone powers its integration, right? And these are samples to show you it actually works. So I'm going to come to um, my cloud desktop, and I'm going to yeah, I'll go to the new chart, right? And I have created some examples that we can use already. One of such examples are like this. Give me the Azure CLI command to create Azure Container App with a managed identity. And I've given the instruction to what? Search Microsoft Docs. So I'll just copy this prompt and come to my cloud desktop and do this. Now, look at this. I have various MCP servers connected here, but I would remove all of them and only expose Microsoft Docs, right? Because I want it to purely connect with Microsoft Docs. Now, how would I know which MCP server is working? It usually comes with the logo. You will see the M logo is in front of Microsoft Docs. That's how I know in the response. So I'm just going to press enter here and see what happens. Now, so it's going to try to fetch the answer for me, right? Now, looking at this here, you can see Microsoft Docs Search. right? Now you can see it's also searching. Let me also search for code samples to get you the complete command examples. Now, if you look here, it would show you a command format. Can you see this? It's displaying to me all of the commands already. You can see. Now, one thing you need to know with Cloud Desktop is that Cloud Desktop will give you the code interface, and then it has the ability to make it formats the code and makes it in a presentable format, right? Something you can easily see. So all of these jargons you see here, all of these jargons you see on this part that doesn't look so nice, they look so nice here now because they are really presented well. So you can see just with that command, I was able to get all of this. It gives me the full command I can use to create a container app just with a single prompt. Why? Because with this prompt, I am connected to MSLearn and I can get as many commands I want from MSLearn because I have integrated my Cloud Desktop with the MCP server from Microsoft Learn. Now, imagine this is how this works when you're making use of Cloud Desktop. But how does it really work when you're making use of VS Code? Because I know most people actually do have access to VS Code. So how does it work? Now, this is how it basically works, right? For you to be able to interact with the MCP server, remember I said the first thing you need to do is to install it, right? And to install it, it's as simple as just coming here in your market and searching for this at MCP, and you can put learn and then you see it. So once you see it, you click in here and you click on install. It's going to install it. Now that is installed on your VS Code, how do you interact with it? The first things first you need to do is to what? Call your agent, right? You need to call your agent. Now, or let me say, open your GitHub agent, Copilot agent. Now, when your GitHub Copilot agent is open, right, you need to put it in the agent mode. It's very important that your GitHub Copilot is in the agent mode. Now, for you to be able to ensure that GitHub Copilot is able to interact with that server, you need to pass certain instructions to it, right? And you will see how I have done mine through my instruction file. So I'm going to show you what this looks like, right? So to be able to get access to your instruction file, all you need to do is you click on this and you see instructions. You click on instructions and it should tell you, look at this. Now you can create new instruction files, right? You can also generate agent instructions, but already I have one already created, which is this, right? Now, so this is what my instruction file looks like. And what I put in this instruction file basically is to tell GitHub Copilot that it has access to these tools, right? So you can see my command here. You have access to MCP tools called Microsoft Doc Search and Microsoft Doc Fetch. These tools allow you to search through and fetch Microsoft's latest official documentation, and that information might be more detailed or newer than what's in your training data sets. So you need to actually specify this so that GitHub Copilot is aware and it takes this into consideration when it's searching. Now you can say if a question includes a Microsoft product, service, or technology, you should leverage these tools to search for an answer and to fetch content for deep research. So that's the instruction I've given to my agent. Now that I've given this instruction to my agent, I'm going to now search and see what happens, right? So I'm going to come here and I will take one of these prompts and something like this, right? You can see, is GPT 4.1 mini available in EU regions? Fetch full doc. So this fetch full doc, remember the keywords we talked about. It's like a signal that I'm using to tell GitHub Copilot to go through the MCP server learn tools. So I copy this and paste it in my chat. And let's see what happens. Right? Let's see what happens. So you see, it's rolling, it's trying to get answers for me, right? It's rolling and trying to get answers for me. Now, look at it says used one reference. What is the reference? The instruction file which I passed, right? So when you create, the importance of your instruction file is to ensure that when GitHub Copilot is working, it takes into cognizance the data you have put in the instruction and it works with that data, right? So making use of the keywords I've put in the prompt plus the instruction I have given to it, right, will let it know that these functions are available to it and it can make use of it, right? So you see, it's actually trying to give us a response. It's trying to give us a response. In fact, I actually did made mention of 3 tools, but in here I just put in 2, right? But I can come here and copy the third tool, which is code sample search. Yeah, which is code sample search. So I can just put in here, um, you have access to this, right? I'm putting here, add the code sample search as well, and this, right? And save. Now, can you see that it was able to go through the instructions provided? And look at, I will search for information about GPT 4.1 available in EU regions and fetch the full documentation. Meanwhile, it's going through this. Can you see? Run Microsoft Doc Search, Microsoft Doc MCP server, and it gave this input to the server, right? It gave this input to the server, and you see the output that came out from the server. You see also that this output is in a code form with lots of, yeah, it doesn't look nice, but also GitHub Copilot has the ability to, what's the word, structure the data and make it look nice. And that's what we can see here. Now it says, great, I found that GPT 4.1 mini is available in several EU regions. Now let me fetch the full documentation page for you. And then it ran through again, making use of the tools, which is Microsoft Doc Fetch. Remember, the tool it used in the first instance was Microsoft Doc Search. So you can see Doc Search, Doc Fetch, and I just added Microsoft Code Sample Search, right? So you can see how it's making use of these tools to give us all the information we need. So it searches, it does a docs fetch, gives us the doc. Yeah, you can see it lists all the zones to us and also lists the key capabilities of this. Now, let's try one more prompt and we close for the day, right? The next prompt we will try will be this, right? And we are asking it to say, are you sure this is the right way to implement HTTP client factory in a .NET This, search Microsoft Docs and fetch full doc, right? So I'm going to copy this prompt and I'm going to come here and run this. Remember, I've given you the instruction to search Microsoft Doc and also fetch full doc. So it's going to search for us and it's also going to fetch using the two tools which we have provided to it. So basically, this is how you are able to interact using GitHub Copilot with the MCP Learn server which you have installed on your VS Code. Now, you can see that due to the keywords provided earlier, it's taking use of those keywords and look at, it's giving us all the information we need. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Isn't this amazing? Isn't this amazing, guys? Really, really amazing. Like, really, really amazing. And you can see that it had made reference to the instruction and made use of the doc search from the MCP server and also the doc fetch from what the what's it called, MCP server. Now I want us to try the last tool, which is what, Microsoft Code Sample Search, right? Now remember I told you of keywords, and so for you to initiate that tool, you need to make use of keywords as search Microsoft Docs, deep dive, or fetch full doc, right? Now we've been making use of search Microsoft Doc. Let's try deep dive, which would actually call the sample code, right? So let's do that. Let's take this last prompt and then we are good for the day. So I'm going to say, show me the complete guide for implementing ASP.NET, right? And I'll use the word fetch full doc. I'll say use the word fetch full doc. So because I want it to actually make use of the tools itself. Let me call this. I use the word, yeah, fetch full doc and deep dive and deep dive, right? Those are the two keywords. So it's going to do just that for us. It's going to, you can see I've updated it here. I've updated it here and I'm going to just run this. So this will be the last exercise we'll be doing for today and we'll be rounding off the session. So I've sent it, said, show me the complete guide for implementing authentication in ASP.NET Core. And I use the word fetch full doc and what, deep dive, right? So it's going to take a look at the references, right? So you see it's searching. It's gone through the MCP server for doc search. The tool Microsoft Doc Search is gone through that. You see, it's going through this as well. Now it's going through Doc Fetch. Okay, so you see, it's going through both of them. And then let's see if it's going to use the code Microsoft Code Sample Search tool. Let's see if that happens. So you see, basically, it's going through all of these tools and getting various outputs and it's summarizing them. Right? You can see all of the query is given to those tools. So what it does basically is it goes through each tool, gets the query outputs and it tries to summarize them. By summarizing them, what it does is it tries to make the output in a presentable format that you can use, right? So you see, it's trying to what's the word, format all of the output it has gotten from each of the tools. So it ran through each of the tools several times and now it's trying to format that. So let's see how it does, summarizes and gives us the answer. Now, while this is waiting, I want you to be aware that we are going to be having a full package of the MCP server series or the MCP series on, I think that is November 29th, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, if you are not, what's the word? Um, if you are not connected or if you haven't joined our our meetup page, ensure to go to our meetup page. You will see the event there. Please ensure to register on the event, right? Register for the event. It's very, very important because we are going to be going deep, full deep dive into MCP and MCP servers so that you have a full knowledge of how this works. So you can see this is all of the outputs coming from our search. Now you can see it's done. And you can see all of the information it has given us. Isn't this awesome? Look at this. Wow. Look at all of this. It went through each of the tools in the MCP server and gave us all of the information we needed to, you know, answer the right questions. Now, one thing you have to take note of is that when passing your prompts, you need to put them in double quotes because here the input method, you can see these are your, this is your, you can see it's all in double, it's called the query. So you need to put them in double quotes. That is how you pass your prompt to the MCP, the Microsoft Learn yeah, MCP server. So, guys, this has been nothing much of so much interesting things. Like I've learned a lot myself, even while learning I and sharing, we are still learning. You understand? So I'm really, really happy and I mean I see a lot of, what's the word I would say? I see a lot to happen when it comes to this. It's a whole lot of things are already happening, and I see a lot more to happen. Right? So, guys, you need to go learn how to make use of this. I don't know what else to say or how to say it, but trust me, you need to ensure that you understand how this MCP server works. It's a whole lot and it's really, really interesting. All right, I think I need to remove this and hand over to my brother in the MCP server industry. Hello, Raphael.
Thank you very much, Promise. Trust me, it has been an amazing session. Look, I was
Yes,
here listening to everything. So I think that for someone that has never done this before, okay, what you have given is more than enough to get started.
I'm
Well
telling
done. I
you.
appreciate what you did today. And guys, please listen to me. Remember what he said earlier on. Okay. Now, in November, we are going to be dissecting this. You know why? Because, see, I think that in the next 5 years, there'll be no software engineering. So this AI and MCP servers will replace all that. So you need to get into this as soon as possible. And we are doing all this for free. We're not charging. No, I was in a group. Okay. And a guy from the group was discussing with another of my friend sent me the screenshot. He wants to go and pay $5,000 to go and learn all these things that we are giving to you for free.
For
Okay,
free.
so yes, so please make sure that our November session and any other session that you're going to meet for the community, that you are a part of it, so that yeah, so that you follow us to enjoy all these things that we already know. Thank you very much, Promise, for the session. Hopefully, we'll have this opportunity to talk to the community again and teach them more interesting things like this. Guys, from us to you, bye bye.
Yes, I also saw one comment from one of our listeners, Blessing Umoren. She said,
Okay.
very informative session. She learned a lot about MCPs. Great job. So I mean, also I see one from Agun Chamber Ekene. It says well detailed. So yes, we see this. Yes, we see this. So thank you so much, Blessing Umoren. Thank you so much, Agun Chamber. Well, I hope that you guys are ready and you have registered for the session coming up
Yeah.
on November 29th. Have they registered? Raphael, you need to tell them they should go to Meetup
Guys,
and
you
go and
need to
register
register.
because
You
it's
need to
going to be
register.
a power packed session. It's going to be a power packed session, guys. So go there and show you're registered because there's a lot to learn, a lot to really, really learn. All right, Raphael. It was really, really awesome having this wonderful session with you.